What's up, Facebook? Ty Crandall with Credit Suite here, and today we are talking about disaster relief financing. We're going to talk about how to get the money you need to make it through the coronavirus crisis by actually tapping into some of the many different kinds of disaster relief financing that are currently available today. So during this live stream, we're going to talk about SBA's main disaster relief program that is now available in 100% of the states of the United States. All 50 states now can access the disaster relief funds from SBA. Many of you know about the $50 billion that was put into SBA. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what these loans are about, how these loans work, what it takes to qualify for these loans, who can get approved, who can't get approved. Everything you need to know about SBA disaster funding we're going to cover today. We're also going to talk about free money. We're going to talk about grants. We're going to talk about interest-free loans. We're going to talk about low-interest loans that are available as regarding disaster relief in your individual state. So a lot of states now, more and more states are rolling out some kind of disaster relief. We're going to talk about what those loans are, what those look like, what the grants look like, which states are offering them, all those type of details today. So my goal for you during this stream is to leave here and know exactly what's involved with getting an SBA disaster relief loan, to know exactly what kind of financing is available in your individual state regarding grants or loans, and exactly what you need to do to move forward to start getting this kind of financing for your business. So let's start from the top. So the number one program that we're hearing the most of right now is SBA's Economic Disaster Relief Program. Okay, we've already heard that $50 billion extra was put into SBA. The update on this from last week is that now all 50 states are eligible. So no matter what state you are in the United States, you can now apply for the SBA disaster relief loans. As of last week, a lot of states still had not been approved. As of the 23rd of March, you're now able to get approved. You can you can apply in every state. The state had to be deemed a disaster area. There was a process to get approved with SBA. That approval process has now been complete. Now, if you don't mind, tell me where you're coming in from. So let me know the state that you are actually coming from. So today I'm going to talk about probably 10 different states and the kind of financing that's available in every state. So let me know where you're coming from so I can speak specifically to your state. If you don't mind, give me your city, give me your state. Let me know where you're coming from. And if this provides value to you, do me a favor, throw out a like, because that tells other people on Facebook that this is valuable information and lets Facebook show it to more people. California, there's some state-specific funding in California we're going to dive in and talk about. Oklahoma's in the house, Texas in the house, Georgia's in the house, Ohio's in the house. So a lot of these states we're going to be tapping into. So let's start from the first. Maryland, welcome Texas again. So SBA disaster loans are the number one program that people are relying on right now. And here's how these programs work. They are what we call 7A loans. They are working capital loans from SBA. Now you need to keep in mind, Dallas, Oklahoma, New York City, New York. I hope you're okay and safe in New York. I know things are crazy up there. Some state-specific financing, including grants that are available for you in New York. We're going to talk about that stuff as well today. So SBA's main program, let's talk about it. Here's the basics you need to know. All states are now approved to apply. So no matter what state, Michigan, some really good financing happening right now in Michigan, Gwendolyn, and Sheila. We're going to talk about that, including grants you can get and including low interest loans you can get. So we're going to talk about in that few minutes. Okay, so I am good, Edgar. Thanks, man. I haven't talked to you in a long time. Long time no see. It's good catching up with you. So SBA's main disaster relief program is what most states are relying on, meaning a lot of states are not offering specific state funding, whether it be grants or loans. Some are, and I'm going to tell you the ones that are today. But the SBA's program is the main one that everybody is directing you to. Almost all states are saying, look, if you want money for disaster relief, go into SBA's main program. It is what is called a 7A program, which basically means that it is a working capital loan, which means you can use the funds from the loan for almost any reason instead of very specific reasons. And as you're about to learn, you can definitely use it for reasons that you're affected by this disaster. So the terms on these loans, they will go as much as 30 years. 10-year, 20-year, 15-year, and 30-year terms are available through SBA with these loans. The interest rates are as low as 2.75% if you are a nonprofit. If you are a for-profit business, you can get the SBA disaster loans for 3.75%. To give you an idea of that math, If you're borrowing $350,000 at 3.75%, your payment would be about $1,620 would be your payment. Now, if you're getting less than $1 million and you are in some different status like a veteran, then you can actually get some interest-free and not even pay the fees. So if you're a veteran, you get even additional benefits beyond that. Now, loan amounts are up to $2 million, but I have some advice for you. Try to stay under $350,000 loan amounts. Here's why. If you're under $350,000, you can get what's called an SBA Express loan, just like what it sounds like. As you probably imagine, we heard $50 billion was put into SBA's system, but we didn't hear SBA is hiring any more people, did we? So that means you're going to have to get in line. And if you want your loan to go quickly, then you really need to consider coming in and getting an SBA Express loan. SBA Express loans must be under $350,000. You can still get a loan in about 1 month to a month and a half with SBA Express. But if you're going above $350,000, you could be looking at 2 to 4 month underwriting process. So try to keep your loan under $350,000, even though these disaster loans go up to $2 million. Okay, the other thing is if you're $350,000 or less, you can get away from collateral. Collateral is not required if your loan is under $350,000. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the lender still might not want to see collateral. They may. Okay, a lot of lenders still may ask you for collateral, but SBA Express loans under $350,000, it is not required to get approved. Now, when it comes to getting approved for the SBA loans, you should know this. The qualification criteria is very similar to regular SBA loans as it is the disaster relief loans, with some exceptions. One is that with disaster relief loans, they're only going to ask for 1 year financials by requirement for the SBA. Usually SBA wants 3 years of tax returns. With these loans, they want 1 year financials, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, tax returns, bank statements. They're going to want your tax returns for 1 year versus 3 years. So it's easier to get approved because you only need 1 year financials versus 3 years of financials that are required for normal SBA loans. Here's the biggest change with these SBA disaster loans. The biggest difference is the reason you can use the funds for. So with SBA, you have to account for what you're using the money for. And usually you can use the money for developing a marketing campaign, deploying a different marketing campaign, for growth. But with SBA disaster loans, they know you've been hit hard. The money is specifically for things like payroll, paying basic expenses, to offset decreased revenue, decreased sales, to offset increased expenses during this time. You can't get money with SBA for any of these purposes with a normal 7A loan. But with SBA's loan, you can get money for those purposes using one of these disaster relief loans. Now, Steve says, I called you yesterday and they talked about SBA Express needs 2 years. We'll talk about that. So is SBA Express and disaster two different loans? The SBA Express is still a disaster loan. It's just the requirements on SBA Express loans are under $350,000 and no collateral. So what I'm saying is this: these are still disaster loans. But if you keep your loan amount under $350,000, then you're able to get the loan faster and may not need collateral. Now, Steve brought up a great point. He said, look, I know that what you just said was 1 year financials is all that's required, but I'm still being asked for 2 or 3 years. You are correct. That's the catch that everybody needs to know about. SBA's system is so inundated. The banks that offer SBA loans are so inundated right now that there's a very good possibility that a lot of the lenders are still going to want 2 to 3 years worth of tax returns to even look at the file. As a matter of fact, a lot of the SBA lenders that we work with are actually making their requirements more stringent to get approved, not easier. So time is your enemy here. If you want to get approved for any kind of financing, you've got to act right now, because daily, as banks are inundated with more and more and more applications, they are making it more stringent, their guidelines, to get approved. So even though SBA only requires 1 year tax returns, a lot of these lenders still want 2 to 3 years worth of tax returns. They're still going to ask for that, even though it only takes 1 year to get approved. Why? Because they're inundated with applications. They're able to cherry pick the ones they want. So they're still coming in and asking for all different kinds of income requirements, because that way they can still come in, cherry pick the loans they want, and only put loans in that they know they can get approved. And that was a comment from one of my SBA lenders yesterday. I said, why are you asking for 2 to 3 years financials when it only takes 1? Because we can. And because we have so many applications that we're only going to bring in applications we absolutely know without a doubt we can funnel through SBA system and get approved. So don't be surprised if they want 2 years or they want 3 years worth of tax returns, even though it's not required by SBA. Remember, there's a difference between the lender and SBA. When you're talking about SBA loans, SBA disaster loans, any kind of SBA loans, except for 7M loans, which are micro loans, all these loans come from banks. SBA guarantees the loss. They guarantee the bank in case there's a loss, in case you don't pay. But it's not SBA that's actually lending the money. It's actually the banks lending the money. SBA is guaranteeing the money. So you have to qualify with the bank. You have to qualify with SBA. So even though SBA says the requirements are only 1 year financials, there's a good possibility the bank may require 2 to 3 years financials, even though SBA doesn't necessarily require that. So some things to keep in mind there. So SBA disaster loans, good overview. Rates as slow as 2 3/4% nonprofit, 3 3/4% for profit. Loan terms as much as 30 years. Loan amounts to $2 million. Preferably try to stay under $350,000 to get away from collateral and to also get your loan done fairly quickly. So that's the basic lowdown on SBA loans. Now, what does it take to qualify? It takes the same thing it normally takes to qualify. All 3 C's. Cash flow, credit, and collateral. They do expect your cash flow to be dropping with these disaster loans, but they want to see that your business is generating revenue on your tax returns. They want to see that you have good personal credit, and you need to have good established business credit, period. You can't get approved with SBA loans unless you have established business credit. Here's why. SBA loans use a score called the FICO Small Business Score, the FICO SBSS score for you to get approved. FICO SBSS looks at your business credit first and your personal credit second. If your business credit's not established, your FICO score cannot be high enough for you to qualify for an SBA loan. So if you are going to go and apply for SBA, you need to start building your business credit right now. If that makes sense, or if this makes sense, if you want to get these SBA loans, you want to start building your business credit, I'll give you our number and I'll give you a way to schedule a consultation throughout. You can go to creditsuite.com/consult, or you can give us a call at 877-600-2487. But remember, you are not able to qualify for an SBA loan without having good credit, and that means well-established business credit. Your FICO Small Business Score will not and cannot mathematically be high enough to get SBA unless you've established some business credit. So if you're going to start applying for these SBA loans, still get with us to start building your business credit, because you can get your first accounts on your business credit reports in only 1 month and only 30 days. That way, during the time you're applying for SBA, you could build your business credit and get your score high enough to qualify. But look, outside of that, business credit's still a phenomenal way to get capital right now, because your cash flow doesn't matter, your credit doesn't matter, your collateral doesn't matter, and almost all these banks are still lending and issuing credit like they normally do, except for Bank of America. They have a little bit of a backlog right now, and hopefully all the commercial paper that the government is buying will free up more liquidity with Bank of America. But all other sources we've seen continue to issue credit cards like they always were before. Okay, that's why the government's buying all this commercial paper, to provide liquidity so we can still tap into the credit system. And we've seen almost all credit issuers, including Citi, who underwrites most of these accounts, still be able to lend money and still be able to issue credit like they have before. So even if you're not building business credit to get SBA loans, still consider it, because it's a great way to get capital during this time. Now, Willie says you have to have more than 1 year in taxes for SBA loans to repeat. The SBA loans with the disaster loans only require 1 year, but a lot of the banks you're getting the loans through may ask for 2 to 3 years worth of financials. If you want to learn more and see if you qualify or to get approved, just give us a ring. We'll talk to you more. You can also go to creditsuite.com/consult, or go to creditsuite.com/get-funding. If you go to creditsuite.com/get-funding, then from that point on, we will also get you right to our team, and we'll talk to you about all of that you're able to get approved with and how many tax returns you need. But a lot of banks will want 2 to 3 years, even though SBA only requires 1 year. Now, let's talk about some state-specific funding. We're starting to see more and more states are bringing out funding unique that is specific to help businesses in their state as well. We have a list going on our blog tomorrow. creditsuite.com/blog. We will release a blog post. We will keep this up to date regularly with all the funding that's available in your state. But let me give you an overview based on the state that you're in. If you're in California right now, they have some specific financing options for you depending on the city that you are in. If you are in San Francisco, they have a $10,000 loan that they will issue you. If you are in Los Angeles, you can get a $20,000 loan issued to you there. The state is still guiding you to SBA's main loans we talked about to get financing, but in those cities, there is individual financing that you are able to get. If you're in Colorado, they have a $7,500 grant, which can work really well for you in Colorado as well. It's a grant. It's free money. It's not an actual loan. And again, if you're keeping an eye on our blog post, you can easily tomorrow get information about all these programs. If you don't want to wait, then now you know enough specific to Google what you need. $7,500 grant for businesses, Colorado. You can get all the details of how to apply right there. A lot of states are bringing out bridge loans. Bridge loans are just that. They bridge the gap. So for example, a lot of states like Florida know that SBA loans are going to take a little while to get. They're offering you a $50,000 interest-free loan as a bridge the gap loan to bridge the gap between when you can get SBA. So in Florida, you're getting a $50,000 interest-free loan right now if you have a business affected in the state of Florida. To get these kind of loans, you have to show your business was affected. For example, bank statements showing that your actual revenue has declined, that your sales have declined. Anything you can do to validate that your business has been adversely affected by this disaster will help you qualify. Florida, great $50,000 interest-free loan. Illinois as well and Michigan also offer $50,000 loans, but they're not interest-free. So in those states, you can still get low interest loans that are state-specific, that are disaster relief loans. In Illinois and also in Michigan, $50,000 loans in both of those states. Speaking of Michigan, Michigan also has a $10,000 grant that is available for small business owners right now as well. So you can get a $10,000 grant in Michigan, you can get a $50,000 low interest rate loan to bridge the gap until you can get other financing like SBA. Okay, when it comes to these kind of loans, the best out there are Massachusetts and New York. Massachusetts and New York both offer very low interest $75,000 loans to help you during this time. So you are in Massachusetts, if you are in New York, they have disaster relief loans of $75,000 that they can help you get if you can show that your business has been adversely affected by this. So that can help you there. Speaking of New York also has a $27,000 grant that you are able to get in New York as well that can help you during this crisis. So New York, $75,000 low interest rate loan. You're able to get a $27,000 grant in New York as well. So that is pretty much all the financing that's available state-specific wise that we've seen. Don't get me wrong. The blog post we'll have tomorrow has other concessions, meaning it's easier for you to put people on unemployment. It's easier for people to be able to collect more money in unemployment. You're not paying as much in taxes. They're not going to penalize you in certain ways. They're not going to let people repossess things. They're not going to let you get foreclosed on. They're not going to let your landlord kick you out. They're not going to let utility companies get shut off. Every state's a little different. They all have these kind of things floating around to ease what you're going through right now. I can't go through every state right now, but on our podcast or on our YouTube channel yesterday, I went through every single state and told you every single kind of funding, every single kind of concession the states are doing across the board. So if you want to know more about that, go to youtube.com/Credit Suite. Pull up the video from yesterday, skip through the video to get to your state. It's all in alphabetical order, and I'll show you some of the state-specific things your states are doing, like that. Like not letting people foreclose, like not letting your landlord kick you out, like not letting utilities get shut off. All those other kind of things that are happening, those are all available on our YouTube channel as well. But again, an overview of state-specific. And Majin says, what about self-employed? Again, these are all for business owners. So if you own a business, all the things I've mentioned are relief from you owning a business. If you're self-employed, you more than likely own a business. So I think we're talking about exactly the same thing. So let's do an overview here as we wrap up. Okay, when it comes down, checking YouTube after these live, perfect. It's a great place that gives you state-specific. You can skip through to the actual state. So an overview. SBA disaster loans, available to $2 million, 3.75% rates for profit, 2.75% rates for nonprofit. Loan terms up to 30 years. An example, $350,000 for 30 years will give you a payment of $1,620 a month on that kind of loan. Remember, keep under $350,000 because under $350,000 will get you an express loan, which is a little faster, and you might not need collateral to be able to get approved. Also keep in mind, even though SBA is saying you only need 1 year time in business to get these loans, 1 year financials to get these loans, a lot of the banks that underwrite SBA loans are still going to ask for 2 to 3 years worth of tax returns, even though SBA says they only need 1. Remember, these loans can be used for reduced sales, reduced revenue, increased of expenses. They are disaster relief loans. Beyond the SBA loans, and don't forget, to qualify, you need to have good personal credit. You need to have business credit established. You need to have some kind of collateral, and you're also going to need to have some kind of cash flow because you're going to need to provide 1 year's worth of financials. There's our number if you'd like to talk more. You can also go to creditsuite.com/consult to schedule or creditsuite.com/get funding to be able to get approved. Now, beyond the SBA main disaster relief loans, we talk about the state-specific funding as we wrap up here as well. States like California, San Francisco, $10,000 loan for you, $20,000 loan you're able to get in Los Angeles. Colorado, $7,500 grant you're able to get right now. $50,000 no interest loans in Florida if you're a business owner affected down here. $50,000 low interest rate loans in Illinois and Michigan. Don't forget, Michigan has a great $10,000 grant program as well. When we get to the higher dollar loans, $75,000, you can get them in Massachusetts. You can get them in New York right now. They are disaster loans to help you during this time. New York also has a $27,000 grant program. And when it comes to grants and loans, that is the states. That's the 50 states. Those are the ones that are lending money right now. But as I mentioned, all kinds of other concessions with taxes, with not letting people foreclose, with not letting utilities get shut off. If you want a breakdown of the state specific, there's 2 things you could do. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Credit Suite. Look at our YouTube channel yesterday, our video yesterday. Skip through to your state. I'll give you more specifics there. We also have a blog we'll be keeping up to date that will be posted tomorrow, Friday, March 27th, that will be up to date, state specific, that will help you know what's going on in every one of your states as well. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today. Also, last thing I want to mention, there's a lot of loans out there outside of what I just talked about. If you need help right now and you can't qualify for an SBA loan, you can't qualify for these state specific, you're in a state that doesn't offer them, it's okay. We have a great credit line, for example, that you can get up to $150,000, 0%, no doc, so you can get it as a startup. You can get it even if you have no financials. You can get it regardless of how your financials are. All you need is a 650 FICO score or higher. The higher your FICO, the more money you're able to get. So if you want financing like a $150,000 credit line at 0% that you could take the cash out on, you can give us a ring and we'll gladly talk to you more about that. There's also financing that you can get that's based just on your revenue, just based on your cash flow. There's also a lot of financing that you're able to get based on your collateral. Stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, inventory, equipment. So for example, I just had somebody on my podcast yesterday, phenomenal product they have. They basically crowdfund inventory financing for e-commerce and wholesale businesses. So if you're an e-commerce business, you can actually get the crowdfunding you need to buy your inventory. They fund you within minutes, then you go buy your inventory. Then as you sell your inventory, you actually pay back the financing you get, and the interest rates are very low on it. So there's a lot of very unique kind of financing out there like that, depending on your industry that you're in. If you want to learn more about what you can get right now, just give us a ring, 877-600-2487. Go to creditsuite.com/consult or go to creditsuite.com/get funding, and creditsuite.com/get funding will help you get approved. But don't forget, beyond SBA, beyond state-specific disaster loans, there's a lot of other loans available just based on you having a 650 FICO score or higher, or stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, account receivables, purchase orders. Maybe you need to get inventory for your e-commerce business or wholesale business. Maybe you have equity in your home, equity in a commercial real estate. Maybe you want to refinance and lower your commercial real estate payments. There's all kinds of financing, even available for real estate investors out there that you can get right now. Okay, I went over some of this last week on Facebook if you want to look back. I went over a lot of this last week on YouTube if you want to look back. And again, if you just want to cut to the chase and find out what you can get approved for, give us a ring at 877-600-2487. Schedule a consult at creditsuite.com/consult or go to creditsuite.com/get funding to be able to get the funding you need. And don't ever forget about business credit, because if you would have already established your business credit, you'd easily be able to get the money you need right now. But if you haven't, it's not too late. You need to build business credit to get SBA loans anyways. And hey, let's be honest, a $10,000, a $30,000, a $50,000 line of credit at Amazon and Walmart right now is going to be helpful. So that's what you can get with business credit, and you can start to get those accounts, Amazon, Walmart, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 limits in about 60 days time or less. Okay, so there's a lot of financing you can get with business credit. They don't care about cash flow. They don't care about credit quality. They don't care about collateral. They don't even pull your personal credit. This is credit you're able to get without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. Business credit alone can pull you through this. So that's another option that I've yet to talk about. If you want to learn more about getting approved with that, give us a ring as well, 877-600-2487. And if you do give us a call, we will help you get your Dun & Bradstreet and Experian credit reports for free. We will also give you a free consultation to tell you all the funding you can get now. And on top of that, we will also walk through and do a free search to see how fundable your business is and see if you're set up with the reporting agencies now or not. All of that is 100% free to figure out where you stand on the business credit side. We'll even give you tips and tactics to help you build your business credit, and we'll give you some solutions that are very affordable for you to build business credit as well. Never forget, at Credit Suite, we don't charge you rates and fees on financing. We never have and we never will. Okay, when it comes to lenders, they charge rates and fees. We negotiate that for you to make sure it stays low. So working with us costs you nothing. If you want to talk to our finance team, if you want to see what we can do to help you, give us a ring at 877-600-2487. Go to creditsuite.com/consult or creditsuite.com/get funding. And Edgar says, thank you, Ty. Very valuable information. Great. Hopefully you got value out of this today. If we can help you, you know what to do. If you want a free guide on building business credit, go to creditsuite.com/Facebook. Our guide's been downloaded over 1 million times. So it is by far the most popular guide that exists that teaches you how to build business credit. You can get that at creditsuite.com/Facebook. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will continue to go live here on our social media channels to keep you abreast of new states that are offering funding, changes with SBA's loan programs, as well as many other ways you can get funding to mitigate this crisis. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day.